Why do you reckon Joe took that job up there at the filling station?
Now that I don't know. You have to ask him.
Yeah. But he isn't doing much trimming anymore.
No, George has been doing the trimming this summer.
You reckon he just kind of just gave up because of
I just don't know.
the highway?
I just don't know.
Last time I was here, Joe Fleming cried about all of this. All of this property, all this land that's now being bulldozed and scraped and routed and cut, chopped, ripped, used to belong to the Fleming brothers. Along this highway, 99 here, used to be a line of cedar trees.
True art is violent, right? It's either done in a style that's violent, or it depicts violence, or it does something to shake people out of their complacency.
Gaylord is he's a consummate artist. He really lives there. I think Vagabond was one of the great books ever to come out. It's just magnificent work, and it's never gotten the attention it deserves.
You go to New York, you go to one of the finer photography, you'll see Gaylord Herron, but you come to Tulsa, you got to go to the bike shop.
Sometimes you end up doing something because you're almost told to do something. By the great Holy Ghost, or whatever you want to call that spirit, comes to you and says, I want you to do this now. It's just some force tells me it's time to take care of some of these people wandering out here, the least, the last, and the lost, with their bicycles. Keep them going, keep them rolling. And somebody's got to do it, and you're chosen. So I think it's something like that, if you want to know the truth. I don't know how else to explain it, because, yeah, I could have done a lot of other things.
I guess a lot of people don't know about his photography because he's just really low-key. And, you know, I've had a lot of people come in the bike shop and not have any idea and ask me about the pictures on the wall.
The kind of picture that I like would be reminiscent of something Cartier-Bresson would like to shoot. Like this. This is like street theater to me. That's downtown on 3rd between Boston and Maine. But, you know, pictures like this, you don't sell pictures like this. People don't hang them on their walls.
He used to do interviews at KOTV, and he would take a 35 along, and he would just literally not look and just shoot, you know? And he brought that sort of looseness to the deal.
Just jink. I wouldn't even look in the camera. Just shoot it from the hip.
What do you say, Joe? I bet you don't remember me. Gaylord?
Yeah, Mr. Gaylord.
Yeah.
How in the world are you?
I think at the time when I was doing that, I seemed to have a knowledge of what was going to happen before it happened. So in other words, I was always ready with the shutter for the decisive moment that Cartier-Bresson talks about. It was always just ahead, and you always knew exactly when it was going to fall. And you would be right on top of the shutter when it did. So it produced good images as a result. In other words, it wasn't thought out, it wasn't studio work. It was street photography.
He is known outside Tulsa, but to a small group of people. Like his books sell now in Europe more than in America, or his book. I was living in New Orleans, and I had a small photo gallery there in the French Quarter. And this book came out. The book Tulsa, Larry Clark's book, had come out about 3 years earlier. And it, you know, caused quite a stir. And then I showed, you know, a bunch of photographers down there, Vagabond, and everybody was going, you know, what's happening in Tulsa? You know, it was just like this sort of thunderbolt.
I didn't really know it was that important of a book, and so I was talking to Gaylord about it, and he started pulling out all these reviews from like the British Journal of Photography and We Magazine, and a quote from Robert Frank when Robert Frank mentioned it, you know, in some, you know, positive light. And so I was just kind of astounded, and I couldn't understand why, you know, that wasn't like part of like Tulsa's story.
They're very, very different books. I read a review of Vagabond not too long ago that said that Tulsa could have been in any town. The book Tulsa could have been shot in any town. But Vagabond was the one that really told you what Tulsa was about.
Larry Clark and I used to wrestle when we were kids over by Cleveland Junior High School. I remember doing a review on that book, Tulsa, right after it came out, when I was doing television news. I didn't give it a very good review because I talked about the absurdity of speed and what it would do to people, I think, in the review that I did. And the strange thing is that Bobby Dean Morris, who's depicted in that book beating this guy up, who was considered an informer, came to my house, and I wasn't there, and my son opened the door and he said, "Is your dad here?" And of course I wasn't, and good thing I wasn't, because he was there to beat me up, I think, for giving him bad press.
Clark's book is like the darker side of of the working classes story in Tulsa, and G's book, there's a lot of magic in it, you know. I think it is a much more like spiritual and like positive. It doesn't show the damage necessarily.